Alright, I'm kind of losing patience in the hello, this is my first LP kind of a thing, and I just want to get going. Hopefully this reboot will kind of progress at a faster rate than the other one did and have more than one episode to boot. So let's just get into it. So the rebranding here is going to be Int Stupid DX because of my newfound love for calculus. I don't know why that is. Calculus is just super duper pretty, I guess, and I like applying it to ridiculously niche, ridiculously stupid interests that I have. Anyway, this is just random Soma Crew's backstory. It's not really a big deal. We can skip through this boring cutscene too. Basically, lady faints, sketchy guy in black tells us to go through the castle. We're all good. Man, for starters, I really love the music of this game. It sets the mood so well, and it really creates this epic sense of adventure for you to go out in. So I feel like Castle Corridor is a really great place to start. Anyway, I forgot to mention this earlier, but I'm doing a randomizer. So basically, what that means is that I have no idea what items I'm going to be getting, except for the first few, because I did a test run of this. And I have no idea if the game's going to be even beatable. But if I get more than one episode out, that's going to be a win anyway. Cool. So that's the first save room. That's like probably 30 seconds already, right? So we're doing pretty good. Alright, so let's come through here. I noticed some money up here, which is always nice. Hopefully Hammer, the shop guy, will have a lot of good stuff for me to buy. Since, again, it's all randomized. Ooh, Blue Crow. That's interesting. I've never used that soul before, I don't think. So, souls in this game are basically the sub-weapons that are in normal Castlevania games. You can use them to maul skeletons and stuff, I guess. This one's actually kind of interesting, because the range of it makes it versatile. Enough that you can use it away from enemies and not get hit. So anyway, let's go see what's up here. I think just the max armors and maybe like one more enemy. Yeah, skeleton archer. Whatever, no worries. I could be using better technique by actually jumping before I attack with my little knife here. That would make it so that I cancel all the lag, but I don't really feel like doing that. Oops. Alright. Yeah, so this first boss actually used to give me a lot of trouble when I was a kid, but turns out that's nothing a little randomizer can't handle. Alrighty, and that's my first boss. Man, this is going faster than when I used to speedrun this game. I'm actually pretty impressed. Alright, let's go ahead and save up real quick so I don't lose my world record pace, probably. Nah, I'm just kidding. The world record pace for... Ooh, bat! The world record pace for this game is really just incredible. I mean, there's one guy who does a skip with 0 HP where he just glitches up through the wall, and he skips like the first half of the game, which is just nutty. Ooh, I've got a nice weapon there. So hopefully... Yeah, okay, it's a light weapon, so that's not too shabby. I can actually feel like I'm auto-canceling and moving around enough, so that's cool. Okay, just another bat soul, that's alright. Alright. So typically when we go this way, there's I forget what it's exactly called, but it's a blue kind of soul, which basically means it's passive and you use it for navigating the castle. So I think it's going to give me Black Panther? Yeah. So that's not a usual occurrence. I actually just found that on my test run and I was like, whoa, this is super sick. Because it lets me move around like Dracula on crack. Woo, look at that. That looks really, really pretty. So now I can kill all these enemies without even worrying about it. And it's going to be a good time. Alright, let's keep going through here. You know, I feel like playing a game randomized really adds a new element of life to it. I've played this game maybe 2 or 3 times, at least 2 I think. Maybe even 3 or 4 times if you count all the speedruns I've done. And I feel like the kinds of souls that we get in the game is instrumental to, okay, well, I may have run into my first wall. So typically what happens here is you have a soul that decreases the rate at which you fall, which means that you can actually make it past this gap. So if I don't make it by the time I finish this explanation, I'm probably going to have to cut and see if this is possible. And we're back after that brief, like, 2-minute cut. So as it turns out, the Black Panther soul that I was using to move around like Dracula on crack actually makes it so that I can soar through the air. Turns out there is a sort of logic to this randomizer after all. I think I forgot to mention where this randomizer is from, by the way. It comes from this guy, I don't really remember his name, but he's this dude on GitHub who's come up with, I think, like 5, 6, 7 randomizers. It's pretty cool. He even randomized like Super Mario RPG and things like that, which you'd, Skeleton Blaze, which you'd think are games that wouldn't exactly have an RNG component to them, or at the very least where skill would supersede luck. So that gives me Skeleton Blaze, which basically means I can slide. Not exactly the most useful ability soul, and actually I would prefer to be able to double jump over using this. In fact, I think when you get more than halfway through the game, this soul is just obsoleted, because you get other souls that either increase your mobility enough that you don't need to slide to avoid enemies or whatever, or they just give you better movement options altogether. So, where I'm heading right now, interesting. So it turns out, not only does it randomize soul drops in terms of giving you different souls than the enemies you kill, but also it'll just give you random locations where you can hit candles and they'll give you souls. So that's really good to know. As an example, this up here will give me a soul. Student Witch. This one isn't too great, I don't think. Just releases a cat. Yep. I mean, it is kind of fun to kill things with cats, but still. If I have any potions, I'm very close to dying. Coffee? Alright. Nice. Much like real life, coffee is what saves us from dying. Reminds me of this joke I used to tell my friends. What's the difference between a zombie and a cadaver? I'm not sure exactly. The punchline involved coffee, I know that for sure. Hey, speaking of coffee, let's see if I can grab this one. Hey, got it. Boom. Alright. This is going to be kind of tricky. Ooh, a Crimson Cloak. Nice. So this will make it that my armor is a little bit better. Which is good, because knowing me, I will probably die in the next section. So I may have to rely on a 15-year-old playing Call of Duty kind of approach here. Where I stay back, hide from danger, and let my cats do all the dirty work for me. Whoopsies, I'm out of MP. That's kind of a problem. So I could stall, I guess, but that would make for some pretty boring gameplay. So I'll just try to make it so that I don't die. Anyway, I think I was saying earlier kind of why I like this game so much, and it's really hard to say. It's got a series of oomph factors, which I think are really, really exciting. It has, I mean, the setting, first of all, is just really, really pretty. It's a futuristic setting, which is unusual for, let's make sure I don't die here. It's a futuristic setting, which is unusual for a Castlevania game. But even more than that, it just combines setting and gameplay in a way that I think prior to this game, in the trilogy of Castlevania GBA games, simply hadn't been done. The first one, Circle of the Moon, was a pretty standard, you play as a vampire hunter. I mean, it was a good, solid game, but it had some gameplay quirks, and it wasn't necessarily the most creative Castlevania. And then Harmony of Dissonance is the black sheep of the three, as far as I know, in the sense that the controls feel a little wonky, it feels a little uninspired, it's just a little bland. Okay, so something interesting that I noticed in this room right here is that sparkly sword up there is the best sword in the game. So it's kind of fortunate in the sense that I know exactly where it is, but it's kind of unfortunate in the sense that I won't be able to get to it until I get a bat soul, which will let me be small enough and mobile enough to actually get in there. But at least I've got a nice little mobility soul that I can use to kind of blitz around the castle at a breakneck speed. Alright, Malphus, very nice. So, this randomizer may seem a little bit disorienting to people who don't really know the game, but I hope that through commentary and blitzing around at breakneck speeds, it will look interesting nonetheless. Alright, I will now be punching animals to death. Sounds exciting. Less scintillating than Pokemon, maybe, but more than your average monster killing experience. I'm not used to being able to double jump so early in the game. This is very exciting. Okay, so I'm in a pretty good position here. Yeah, so big scary man comes up in trench coat. You know, the usual story shenanigans. So, I always feel like this area is kind of underrated when people think about Aria of Sorrow, just because I feel like the gothic style of the castle isn't really what people celebrate this game for. They celebrate it for the futuristic aspects and the creative soul system, and all of the new age things that make this game unique. But I think this game does gothic things just as well. Maybe it doesn't have the ambiance of a game like Symphony of the Night, where you could feel Alucard's internal struggle, and that narrative just made the game that much better, but at the very least this game feels creative. It feels like a handheld Symphony of the Night that maybe has better gameplay, or at the very least just as good, and tries to provide a similar kind of cathartic experience. Alright, so I'm just going to blitz through this room. And there should be a save point down here, which is good, because in the early game I tend to die quite a bit. One nice thing about this randomizer is that it's actually making my death count significantly lower. It's at 0, actually. And I think partially that's because of really, really good RNG. I got some really good souls early on. I got this Poison Fist, which gives me 73 attack as opposed to the 20s and 10s that I have here. And I have some decent souls as well. Right. So this Student Witch soul is actually doing me a lot of good, because I can just sit back here and just spam the Manticore, which is awesome. I don't have enough MP for Balor, which is a boss coming up later, incidentally. So let's see if I can use Blue Crow kind of effectively. Whoops. That won't quite work. So it looks like Student Witch is the best bang for my buck at this point. I also really like how quick the Poison Fist is, because I got 4 attacks there in one. Alright, that's that. That's Manticore. So that's another interesting thing I'm noting about randomizers, as I'm kind of coming through here and trying to kill this bat. The way that you get items is in no way, shape, or form dictated by the game's internal logic anymore. At this point, the way you gain items and the way that you progress through the game is purely dependent on RNG or whatever seed you input into your ROM. So as a result of that, I'm zipping through the game in maybe 10-15 minutes here, when usually I would have taken much, much more time. That is, of course, due to having, you know, more late game abilities, and ooh, okay, Siren. Doesn't seem like this one will be too useful if it's based on its Greek mythological roots. Yeah. Not too great of a range, not too great of an effect. But by and large, this is a really unique experience, and it's pretty exciting. Third place in the game. We're doing good. Alright, nice. So that's my first yellow soul. That just increases my stats. Let's go ahead and change, sorry, not to Student Witch again. And come through here. So in the vanilla game, I know there's a weapon in here, so I'm kind of excited to see what it's going to be. I doubt it will replace my Fist of Justice at this point, but it's worth a look. Alright, Curly, very nice. So I don't have the MP to actually make good use of this, but it will be fun to curb stomp the enemies in this next room. So, Curly. Whoa! That was crazy. So, for reference, Skeleton Knight increases my strength by 4, but Triton, the soul that I just got, increases it by 4 times that. So if I don't die, I'm going to be in a really good position for the next boss. Okay. I've got a skull necklace here. Let's see how that compares. Nah, it's not worth it. Whoops. No need for that. Let's go and equip Black Panther again so I can zip. Okay. I don't know why this ability is called Black Panther, actually. It might be related to Alucard's in some way, shape, or form. Whoops, let's make sure I don't die. I have a good ability going on here. Yeah, just drink my coffee. Why not? Someone's like 18. Should he be used to drinking coffee? Is that really healthy for 18-year-olds? I don't really know. So at this point, I'm just breezing through the game, punching things with an attack that is 50 points higher than the intended amount. So this is a lot of fun. Actually gives me a lot more leeway than I anticipated to kind of focus on the commentary here. So that's always nice. Alright, let's go ahead and curly through this room too. Woo! Nice. And I got a new soul from that too, which is great. Disc armor. Won't have enough MP to use that, but basically it just sends a disc spinning around me, around the radius near my feet. Not a big deal. I know there's some items up here, so I'll go grab those real quick. Yikes. This ghost is really not getting in the right position here. Alright, we've got some coffee here. So that's just a replacement for potions or mind ups or whatever kind of rejuvenating items we got here. There's a hidden room over here. Let's take a whoops. Let's get Black Panther in here. Castle map 1. Alrighty, very nice. Very nice. There's a save room down here. I think I'm gonna call it a part. So I'll see you guys next time.